Hello, my Generation X abs peeps. Today is Friday, and tonight I'll be heading down to the park with my mountain bike group, and we're going to be watching a movie called 10 Things I Hate About You, or something like that. And I've never seen it before, but it's going to be a fun social event, so that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. Now, today what I want to talk to you guys about is motivation, opportunities, routine, discipline. Here's something very interesting that happened. Now, I'm going to be treating this channel kind of like a journal. At the same time, it's going to be a channel for all you Gen Xers. And if you're new here, I'm Adam. And this is for all you Gen Xers that are 40, 50, 60 plus. That are looking to get back into shape or want to get rid of the dad bod, get the six-pack back. This channel's for you. Hopefully, you'll learn some tips and tricks from me that'll help you achieve your goals, and hopefully you'll share with me in the comments below what you did to achieve your goals and how you're staying in shape, so that way I can learn from you. So, here's something very interesting that happened yesterday. I was not feeling motivated. I didn't want to go out and do anything. I was tired, I was exhausted. And also my schedule had kind of screwed up a little bit because I had to get a new phone, so the insurance company sent a guy over to the house with the new phone, and he was supposed to set up the phone. So I had to leave work early, be at home from 3 to 5. So I left work early. On Thursdays, I go out for a 20-mile road ride. So I get to work, so I get home and I wait for the guy. He shows up. He was a waste of time. He didn't set up the phone properly. I had to figure it out myself, and I figured it, and then I connected or transferred the information from one phone to the next. And I had to sit there and wait and keep, confirming and undoing and doing, and it was a freaking shit show. So I'm at home now, and my schedule's totally screwed up because I'm used to being at work. So I'm not around a bunch of food. So now I'm thinking about food. So I snacked on a few things here and there, but I controlled myself. I didn't go crazy. I actually passed out next to the dog for like maybe 15 minutes. I just slouched over on the couch and passed out, and then woke up and I was like, oh, okay, has the phone, done doing its thing. And I was like, all right, dude, get out and go do something. You've only got about 3,000 steps in, and you're normally doing a ride today. Get your ass out the door. And I was just like, don't want to do it. But while I was kicking and screaming in my brain, I was in motion, walking my ass upstairs, putting on my riding gear, and still thinking, I really don't feel like doing this. My mind was even going into a bad place. So I put on my riding gear, the phone's finally transferred, and I'm like, all right, it's around 6 o'clock. I still got about an hour and a half of sunlight, and, get out, get your ass out the door. Now I have the pressure of hurrying up to get out the door because it's going to start getting dark by the time I start riding back out, because normally the mountain bike ride that I go on in my neighborhood takes about an hour and a half, and it's about 12 miles and 2,000 feet elevation gain, something like that. So now I had that pressure, and now I'm on the bike, and I'm like, all right, I haven't been on the mountain bike for a while. I have been road riding, and my mind was just looking for things, excuses and bad thoughts. It was like, oh, when you get to this climb, you're not going to do it. You're going to gas out. By the time you get to this part, you're probably going to gas out. You're probably going to get bit by a rattlesnake, or you're going to crash going down this trail called Mentally Sensitive. It was such a weird place because my mind was so exhausted. And then I was even thinking, I shouldn't be here. This is not where I should be right now. And so I started riding, and then next thing you know, I get to that climb that I thought that I was going to gas out on. No, I stood up on the bike. I was even on top of the pedals, and I was just hammering right through it like it was flat land, and I wasn't even gassed out at the top. I was like, all right, and then also, I'm riding along the brush, and no snake bites. All right, I didn't get bit by a snake. And then I start getting towards the top, and there's another long section, and that's a climb, and I was like standing up through that whole section, which I've only done a few times I've ever ridden out there. So I was feeling pretty good. I was like, wow, I'm feeling pretty strong. And keep in mind though, I've lost a lot of weight, so now my bike is like a carbon fiber bike, even though it's not, because I've lost 35 pounds since last year. So now I'm, you know, I'm cooking, you know, I'm just flying through stuff, you know. Next thing you know, I'm at the very top of the gate, and I run across one of my old clients. And I was like, oh shit. So he's out there riding, and he's riding with a buddy. And so we start rapping, you know, we start talking. And so him and the other guy were going to go down this like a triple black diamond run. It's a higher level downhill. So they took off and went that way, and I kept on going straight. I went straight towards my regular route. That's more of a single black diamond type of a level riding trail that I was heading towards. And I was feeling really good, so now I'm cooking down that trail, and then whenever I get down to the bottom of it, there's a long straightaway, and I just felt like sprinting. So I started sprinting on the bike, hauling ass, like I'm some kind of cross-country racer training. And then I make the turn, and now I'm heading down to this other trail, and I'm still cooking. I'm like, wow, you know, I'm feeling really good, so sprinting. And then I run across my old client again. So they actually, you know, they cut down the mountainside, and I went all the way around and still caught up to them. So now, you know, now we're starting to talk again. Now he's like, hey, you know, we start talking about all these different topics of, you know, different interests. We start talking about peptides, fitness, and, you know, staying in shape. You know, he's a little bit older than me. You know, he's like, hey, you know what? I've been working on this one project. I just don't have time for it. Would you be able to do some video editing for me? And I was like, sure, you know, so he passed some work my way. This guy, his name is Alex, and he's an attorney, and he's a brilliant guy, and he has motocross racing experience for years, and so he's big in the mountain bike and motorcycle community, and he's worked with a lot of big names. I want to talk to you guys about where my mind was at. So thanks to my routine of always going out and riding and making it a non-negotiable, that created that discipline where I was going to go out and do something. So it puts me in that arena with those types of people, which then turns into opportunity. Whenever you're not feeling like you want to go out and do something, you better go out and do it, because that's the time whenever you got to go out, because that trains your body and your brain to say, hey, even though I don't feel like doing it, I'm going to go out and do it. And the way you get there is by creating a routine, and that creates that discipline. And also, I'm really glad that everything worked out the way it did, because my mind was just in a bad place. It was just like, don't want to do it, this is gonna suck, you're gonna suck, and all these bad things are gonna happen. And I had an awesome ride, and I got to see my old client and create some opportunities. So there you go, guys. When you don't feel like doing it, get out and do it. Hit the like button. Also support the channel by visiting genxabs.com and purchasing the merch. And I will see you guys later.